Welcome back. Okay. Now, in order for us to be assertive, confident, and have that trust in ourselves first and in our partner, let's see how that is possible. We talked about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. But in actuality, the mind is segmented into 6 different layers. And the bottom layer, which we like to call it result, is the most conscious layer of the mind. And I would say the least empowering one. And as we move up the layers, we get from the conscious to the subconscious. So most people, do you want to do the light?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
At least I'm being useful. Result.
Thank you, my dear. So most of us make goals and environmental outcomes here. I want to have a good relationship. I want to have a mansion. I want to have a shiny sports car. I want to buy my next Chanel bag, or my Louboutin shoes, or my Rolex watch. Whatever it is, we make. How far can I walk with this?
You can walk a little bit more.
Whatever it is, we make our goals here. And how many of us know people that have all these shiny objects? They have the mansion, they have the luxury items, they have the cars, whatever seems from the outside they have. And yet, they're not happy. They're stressed, they're anxious, and they're miserable. Why is that? So then we move to behavior. In order to get the results that we want, we do a different behavior. We want to lose weight, so we buy a gym membership. We want to buy a mansion, so we put 12, 15-hour workdays. And of course, we do get the results somehow. And then what happens? And because we're not aligned, we do the things. This is where overwhelm comes in. This is where most people give up, because they do the things to get to the results. But how long can you go to the gym 7 days a week? How long can you sustain putting 12, 15-hour day works? At this point, we get overwhelmed. We give up. We
break down.
We break down. Because what we want is not aligned with the subconscious mind. So where do behaviors come from? Behaviors come from our potentials. What are potentials? And I do believe that all of us here have infinite amount of potentials, but they're deep, tucked into our subconscious mind. Potentials are our knowledge, skills, capabilities. The more we learn, the more we want to grow, the more we open our potentials. So our hope is that by end of today, by coming here and learning about the power of the mind, communication, and boundaries, you have opened up one or couple of potentials. And the other thing about going up the ladder, up the layers of the mind, it has a trickle-down effect. So by opening up and tapping into new potentials, you create new behaviors. Once you create new behaviors, you create new results. Where do potentials come from? Our beliefs. Our beliefs are what we believe about ourselves and others. They can either unlock our potentials or limit us. Now, there is a famous quote by Henry Ford that says, whether you think you can and whether you think you cannot, you're right. Whether you think you can or whether you think you cannot, you're right. Beliefs are very, very powerful. And where do beliefs come from? They come from our past experiences, from what we have learned and what we believe right to be right or to be wrong.
That inner child that we talked about. So the beliefs are at the seed of that inner child. So that is coming forward into the middle of the subconscious mind.
So, yeah, exactly. So if you had a few bad relationships.
She wants to ask a question.
Sure. Absolutely.
Where the motivation comes from? I mean, is it in the behavioral or is it in the potential? When you have a motivation, yes, it's gonna help you for the behavior, right? And stopping motivation.
We have two more layers.
Oh,
And when we get to the top layer is where motivation kicks.
How you can change your beliefs.
We're going to talk about that. That's exactly where we go. So this is the most important part of this workshop, in my opinion. So we all have limiting beliefs, and those limiting beliefs are at the seed of that inner understanding of ourselves. And if we can correct that and take care of those limiting beliefs, the results are going to be what we want, because our behavior changes, because our potential changes. But now the other layers above it also are affecting the beliefs. So I think you're going to get your answers. If you don't get it at the end of this, then let us know and we'll talk.
So if you had a few bad relationships in the past, now you form a belief that all men are up to no good. Or if you're a man and had a few bad relationships, you form the belief that all women are gold diggers. If your parents got divorced when you were at a very young age, you formed the belief that relationships are not to be lasting. If you had a parent that had a hard time showing you love, you formed the belief that I'm not lovable. And these beliefs are not at the conscious level. We form them at the subconscious level. All of your I can'ts, I'm not good enough, I shouldn't, I mustn't, I'm not worthy of it, all of this are what's holding us back from everything that we do in life, including love and relationship. So where do beliefs come from? Beliefs come from our values.
Oops, sorry.
Values are deep into our subconscious mind. This is very, very important. And as Daniel was saying, the values are from age 0 to 7 when we are walking subconscious beings. Values come from our parents, our caregivers, our most influential influencers in our lives. Culture has a part in it. Values are so important that we're going to dedicate a whole section to values. Now, where do values come from? And now we're deep into the subconscious mind. Your identity is the most important and the most empowering layer of the mind. It is what you put after I am. Don't take these two words lightly. What you put after your I am can create or break the life that you want. It is that important. What are your some of I ams? Are your I ams empowering you to a life that you want, or are they limiting you? Now I want you to take a minute and think about your I ams. And we have many different identities. One of my identities is that I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a coach. And with each identity, it comes a certain traits, characteristics, beliefs, different behaviors. So what are some of your I ams? When you declare your I ams, are you just saying it, or are you actually believing it at the root level? Imagining it with all of your heart. Because when you are at the top of the chain, at the top layer, one shift in your identity has an exponential trickle-down effect to everything else that you do. It exponentially changes your values, changes your beliefs, changes your potential, your behaviors, and as a result, your results. So what you put again next to identity becomes extremely crucial to who you are and who you want to be.
Next. Very good. There's a lot under the hood, right? We just look at the surface, but so much is going on in the deeper parts of our psyche that we really don't have much access unless we realize there is enough there that now we're going to be deliberately looking for them. So just this awareness, it's a big step towards getting what you want. Just understanding that there are other potentials inside of you that is not tapped. There are beliefs that need to be changed. There are values that you want to reevaluate. And there is an identity that it's looking forward to have a new version of you, a new you. Both of us, we shared with you that our I ams change. You asked the date from her. Her I am changed in 2004 when she realized that who she was wasn't who she was. And for me at age 44, when I realized, oh, I am a speaker, I am a therapist, I am, before that, I was a lot of different things. I was a businessman, I was a father, I was, but that when that I am changed, then I was able to open up the other parts of my life that today is making me happy, successful, content, right? So, in order to change those limiting beliefs, that's the question you all had, right? How are we going to, I want to get right in the middle of it, because above it is the values and the identity, and then below it is all these potentials, behaviors, and results. So if we can kind of go in the middle and just open this up, what are these beliefs? I think we're going to be more successful. So our beliefs, or our limiting beliefs especially, come from our emotions. Our emotions are a bunch of feelings. Feelings are the states that we are in right now. And sensations, which is the physiological experience of being, okay? In both Farsi and English, we have very limited words for our feelings, okay? We just say, I feel, I feel, I feel, but these feelings could be sensations. If I say, I feel hot, okay, it's my senses, it's my five senses that is saying something about the external environment of what's happening. But if I say I feel heated, okay, I'm talking about my temperament, my way of being and presenting myself, which is a whole different thing, right? And then my emotions are a combination of both of these, the sensations and the feelings coming together. I'm heated and I'm hot, so I'm angry, and anger is the emotion, right? So I feel both heated and hot, physically and emotionally. I'm showing a certain way of being that is in my muscles, it's in my jaws, it's in my neck, my back. And we didn't go through much of this reasons that we are this way. Biologically, we are evolutionary being, and a part of our mind is animalistic, as we are mammals. And then a higher part of ourselves. If imagine, let me give you this brief explanation. So if this is your brain, this is your spinal cord, this is the back of your head, which is the reptilian brain or the brain base. The middle part of it is the animal brain or the mammalian brain. The top is our cortex, which has all of this information, conscious as subconscious, into it. And then the prefrontal cortex is the part that is the server. Everything comes together and that alignment is made and we can make decisions, right? Regretfully, this server is not going to come on until in guys age 24 and for women 21. So yes, for the whole childhood and the young adulthood, we are functioning with brains that are more animalistic rather than being the human brain that we have, the higher self that we have. So the challenge in the belief system is that it has happened in those years and we're carrying those beliefs on. Again, we go back to that inner child is carrying all of these beliefs. So now by understanding our feelings, now we can have a dent into this system. So you may ask, what are feelings then? Feeling is location, okay? You all have cell phones that you navigate with, your cars have navigation system. How does it work?
The GPS.
The GPS. There is a satellite, and then your device sends signals from the place that you are after you put the address, and then the satellite is connecting with the device and is giving, based upon your location and your place of being, it gives you direction to the next step, to the next step, and it picks up along the way. So feelings are the same, the signal that is given to our brain or the brain of our partners, right? So if I cannot clarify where I am, how is my partner going to know what's going on with me, to support me, to come to my side? How do I know where I am to even ask for support and help? So the big problem is that we're not aware of our feelings. And now, from certain cultural perspective, again, most of us come from Middle East or Persian background. In our cultures, the tribal cultures, we have lived together as, you know, these families that their honor has been in the way that we're all together, we're one, you know, there's nothing separates us. Enmeshed. Right? So my feelings didn't have any place. And also as children, our feelings have been shut down. If I went to my dad and I said, Dad, I'm scared, he didn't say, oh, I'm so sorry. Can I ask you what is scaring you? How does it sense in your body? He didn't know any of these things. He said, don't be afraid. Your cousin is half of you and he is just going everywhere and he doesn't he doesn't get scared. What are you talking about? So if I was embarrassed with something, I say, oh no, I don't want to go here. This is, you know, this is not good. I don't want to go to this party. They say, get up, yalla, you know, let's go. It's fun. They didn't say what's going on. How are you feeling about this? So we don't have that privilege, unfortunately. And again, if we are aware of that, hopefully we can be more concerning for our own children and our own people in our families. So feelings, if you ask me, in my work, is the most important thing in my work. Because with every client that comes to me, what we need to do is to understand the feelings. Okay, and I may ask them 200 times, you know, those who have worked with me, they know. How many times I ask, what do you feel now? What do you feel now? You know, like that commercial with the phone where, you know, so it's the same thing, you know, reception, the same thing as that commercial. So where am I now? So if we understand the feelings, now we can change things and now we can go and see where these beliefs are coming from or how valid they are or what's going on. So, and once we do that, now we can reassess our values, and then the assertive identity, we want to change our identity to assertive. If there is one thing that I'm hoping that we can accomplish today, or at least get open to that understanding, is that how assertiveness is an identity. So if we can change that identity, then everything else can change down the road. Fair?
Okay, we talked a lot about values and where they come from. Now I want you to think about values in your relationship. What is important in your relationship? We're going to do another exercise.
Ready?
You pass white sheets of paper, everyone. So I want you to ask yourself, what is important to me about my relationship? And keep asking that. Don't judge it. Whatever comes out, write it down. Don't try to make sense out of it. Don't try to correct it. Don't try to question it. We want to make this as fast as possible from the subconscious. And then once you think that you are done, take a deep breath and do it another time. So we're going to do it 3 times. By the 3rd time, the tank is going to be empty. Because the first few times that you ask, you're getting conscious answers. We want to get to the subconscious part of the answer. Ready? We're going to give you 2. So make sure that to at least have 10. You might have more, but at least have 10.
Is that clear? Anybody has a question about the exercise?
That means, I'm sorry, that means what do I want from my partner, right?
In your relationship.
In your relationship, what values are important in your relationship?
Is it connection? Is it love? Whatever is coming up to you.
Intimacy, whatever it is, the value that you want.
Will you guys pause us or should we do it ourselves?
We'll pause you.
It's okay.
It's okay. خودش Abhi, did you mean to pause you to go to the second one?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, you do that yourself. Whenever you're done with the first time, just, yeah. One more minute. And you can definitely do this at home too when you have more time. I need that board closer. I need that board closer to me. Do we have at least 10?
Don't worry, it's good.
Yes? Okay. Do you want to shout out some of your values?
Emotional support.
Beautiful.
Being loved.
Nice. Anyone else? Supporting. Beautiful. Consistency. Very good. Okay. Now that you have your list of 10, I want you to number them. What is the most important one to you? And when you put a number next to number 1, then for number 2, I want you to go through all the 10 and see what is number 2. And do that with all of the 10 so that you have prioritized your values from 1 to 10. Are we almost done? Okay. Now that we have the 10 in sequence in order, I want you to go to your number 1 and ask yourself, what is important to me about blank? And see what answers you get. Because some of the answers that you get can be towards motivated or away motivated. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's pick companionship as one of your values. If you say, what is important to me about companionship, and you say, I don't want to be lonely, that's an away motivation. You're coming from a lack. But if you say that I want to be loved, I want to have connection, I want to see us grow together, then that's a towards motivated value. Because we don't want to be to get away from something. We want to move forward to something better. Let's take an example of weight loss. If we all have a scary number, if one day we step on the scale and we are on that scary number, we panic. What do? We go to the gym. We go on all crazy diets to get away from that crazy number, scary number. And the minute that we are comfortable, we are 5 pounds away from that scary number, then we allow ourselves to relax and cheat and have a fries or a pizza again. Because the motivation was not that I want to have a healthy lifestyle, I want to live longer, I want to have healthy arteries, I want to do the marathon. It wasn't forward, it wasn't towards something good, it was to get away from something bad, something negative, something scary. So ask yourself this question with all of your 10 values. What is important to me about blank? 2 minutes? You can continue it at home as well. Yes?
Just to clear up, we're not categorizing, right?
No, you just say, first of all, you say love is one of my values. What's important to me about love?
And is it away or towards?
Just realize that mentally.
The values that you've written, how do they gravitate you, or you're just pushing against them?
Yeah.
And if you're not done with all 10, you can finish them at home. Okay, just for the sake of time, we're gonna, whatever you wrote, it's fine, and then gonna ask you to finish it at home. And one way that we can change our values is the intention that we have to make it a forward towards motivation. There's another technique of forgiveness that hopefully we'll do them soon in an upcoming workshop, and other NLP techniques, and Daniel's going to talk about his way of changing the values.
So we talked about trust and rebuilding trust, and then the 4 layers of building trust, which was security, right, at the core of it. So let's start with the value of security, because that's a huge value. I think one of the essential values that we all may have some questions about or discomforts about in different parts of this security is feeling in the harm's way rather than not feeling in the harm's way. We feel something wrong is going to happen. Our partner may be doing something that, it's going to be against us, or life is not going to be going to the direction that we want, right? So in order to have that gateway to health, happiness, and success, we want to make sure that all the limitations, as we spoke about the beliefs and the limitations, are removed. So one way that we can create security is responsible choices, okay? So everything that we do, we got to accept responsibility for and make appropriate choices in order to have the results that is going to be security. So if we want to understand how these responsible choices are, first of all, we got to understand what responsibilities we have towards ourselves as a person. So these responsible choices are really in 2 parts, responsibility and choices, right? So we got to tell them apart. So responsibility is relatively simple. It's our due diligence. It's a checklist. I want to be responsible to do this work. We had to go through a lot of different steps. Step 1, writing this, talking, getting the tools. And we have to check mark everything. This morning we checked about all of the items that we need here. So in order to achieve anything, to make any impact, make any changes, we got to know what our responsibilities are. And the responsibilities require 2 ingredients, knowledge and strength. Knowledge, it's something that we go to school for. We come here, we sit here, and we gain some knowledge. We open up our minds in a conscious level to realize what's out there and what tools are there that we can utilize. So that is one part of our responsibility, to educate ourselves, to know what's going on, to have a certain clear view of how things are supposed to be. If I want to cook something, for example, a very simple example, I got to know what ingredients are needed for cooking, pasta bolognese. So I got to get all of those ingredients and check tomatoes, and that's my responsibility to begin with. Then we come back to the second part, which is the strength. Strength is the capacity, is the capability. It's the power that we have in doing what we do. if my legs are broken and I cannot stand on my feet, it's going to be very hard to cook what I want to cook. You know, if I'm sick and I have a fever, my capabilities, my strength is not there to even give me that motivation to go to the kitchen, and even if I, you know, have the ingredients to do anything. So both of these are requirements that we need to have. And the responsible choices without the responsibility is not going to be possible. We want to focus on that responsibility first before we go to the choices. Because responsibility, besides taking the steps, also has the deeper understanding in our psychological way of being through all of these layers that we talked about, how these responsibilities could be affected, and we're not going to be responsible because of certain beliefs that we have. So if I believe I'm not desirable and my responsibility to be in a relationship is to go on a dating app, for example, to put myself out there to be in a relationship, if I cannot do that, then I'm not going to, if I feel I'm not desirable, I'm never going to be even on an app because I believe that nobody's going to date me, right? Do you want to go to the deeper part? I'm on the surface, she's in the deeper part.
As you notice by now, Daniel and I have a slightly different language. He calls it responsible. I call it being at cause. This single formula, it's one of the most powerful, empowering formulas you can have for your relationship or for anything else in life. See, in life, we can only live life in two ways. We are either at cause or we are either at effect. Any time that we are not reaching the results that we want and we say, I did not do X, Y, or Z because X, Y, and Z, we are putting ourselves at the effect of life. We are letting life to happen to us. It's like going on a roller coaster with blindfolds on. Or imagine a pinball machine. You put the balls in there and you're just managing so that the balls don't fall in the hole. You have no control of where each ball is coming at you. You're not creating the life that you want. You're just sitting stagnant, waiting for life to happen to you. And blaming people, events, circumstances, weather, politics, economy, for things that doesn't go the way you want them to. Anytime. So you say, I didn't achieve this because of that. Remind yourself that you are at the effect of the equation. When you move yourself from effect to cause, you are giving signals to your subconscious mind that I'm proactively creating the life I want. I am in charge of whatever I have and I don't have. Because a lot of times when things go right, we take pride and responsibility and we say, yes, I did that. But when things don't go wrong, we always have a finger pointing at something or someone else.
Blaming.
Yes. When you say when, this was when I realized that I need to be at cause and I need to be in charge of my own life. He can't make me happy. He can't add to my happiness, but my lacks are my lacks. I need to take care of them myself. Yes.
Regarding blaming, can you blame your own fault? You know, I know it was my fault. I just have to go on back and fix it. Just next time do better.
But what does blaming get you? Are you at the cause or at the effect?
To just correct myself for the next time.
Not blame. So instead of blaming, say, okay, I did this. What can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? Because the moment that you put blame on it, it means that it's something negative. We don't want to do that. Just take the event or what has happened as just that, an event. Don't put meanings next to it, that it was bad or that it was wrong. It was what it was. It didn't produce the same result that you wanted. So what can I do differently next time so I can get the result that I want?
Remember, negativity just pushes you away from your goal, from your intention. So the moment that it becomes a blame and there is a negative connotation, you're not going to be motivated to do better. You're going to be, again, more deeper into what you haven't done, and in the subconscious level, you validate those beliefs that I'm not capable, that I cannot do this, that I don't have it.
So I can and I will. It's the mindset of a person that lives at cause. I will, and at no matter what mindset, I'm going to get to where I want to be. There are no excuses. So at the end of the day, we like to have results rather than excuses. Even if the results that we want are not exactly the results that we had planned them to be.
As long as you're proactive.
And take action. In order to be at cause, when we say at cause or be responsible, we don't mean that you take fault at a situation, or we don't say to take blame for it. Just an observation. So in order to be at cause, ask yourself these 4 questions for every situation. How was I at cause for blank outcome? How did I contribute to that event? How could I have done it differently? What can I learn from it? See, when you are unbiased towards getting the results that you want, and you're not blaming or putting fault at something, then from a very unbiased point, you can answer these questions, and you see that in any situation, in any circumstance, even the ones that we are 99% or sometimes 100% sure that it was the other person's fault, if you ask these 4 questions, you will definitely find some answers that you could have done something differently to get different results. Does that make sense? And to truly be at cause, one must take action. And it's not enough just to admit that, yeah, I was at cause for that, and just do nothing about it. Learn from it and do a different action to break the pattern and to get different results. But the problem with taking action, that it is often uncomfortable, because most of us operate from a place of familiarity, a place that is safe and secure to us.
Or at least it looks like to be safe.
We know this place, that gray area which we call comfort zone. It's where nothing of significant really happens, nothing really bad happens. It's just a land of blah, 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 that you go about your day in a routine base, just doing the things that you do every day. So what happens? Sometimes something really bad happens. God forbid someone gets in an accident, someone gets ill, or you get fired from your job. You have no choice but to come out of the comfort zone. Spike down, spiral down, negative, coming out of the comfort zone. And then, as we go about our lives, something really good happens. Sister gets married, you get promoted, you buy that house, baby is born. And we get to really, really good. Once we get to really, really good, or to really, really bad, what happens to our comfort zone? It expands. Once the comfort zone expands, it doesn't, now we have a new area. Now the norm is different now. It has expanded. But what we want to do and what we want to achieve is that proactively, voluntarily, make ourselves go out of the comfort zone. because it is there that growth happens. When we move out of the comfort zone, it is there where everything that you want, that you still don't have, lies outside of your comfort zone. So do something that scares you. Do something that is uncomfortable. Do something that stretches you, that takes you out of the comfort zone, because that is when real change happens.
Which brings us to our choices. Now, this was all the responsibility part, right? So now we got to be able to make decisions. And for making decisions, we need a certain other tools. When you're at cause, when you are being responsible, and you have the knowledge, and you have the understanding, and you have built yourself the stamina, and you've finally stepped out of your comfort zone, okay, now your choices change. Because in comfort zone, you're just limited to certain things that you've just done on a daily basis. If, you know, my comfort zone has been, in case of some of the lovely wives that I meet, you know, I've been taking care of my children, and this was my value and everything I've done. So there is a comfort zone associated with that, that I haven't been able to step out of that comfort zone and develop on other things, while I could have chosen to take certain other action. But because this was familiar to me and I was doing my job, my work, you know, and I was giving my value, then my value is just this, okay? But when we step out of this, now we can go to classes, we can you know, go to the gym, we can have more relationship with our friends, we can do and do and do and do once I'm not stuck with that comfort zone. And unfortunately, that's something that I see all the time happening, that we get, you know, as a man, you know, I go to work, I'm working and I'm bringing money, so I'm good, I'm in my comfort zone. And why are you complaining about we're not going out, we're not having fun? You know, isn't this enough for you? So I'm in my comfort zone, and then my choices are very limited. I cannot really understand what else is needed in this relationship that I would like to appreciate, adhere to, value, and take those extra steps. Simply, we can just lose all the options that we have. In order to have options, and you want to make the choices, again, we need two certain ingredients. Number one is awareness. Awareness is a 360-degree view of yourself. The exercise that Bonnie did, and you went up and you were looking, that was an awareness about a much bigger picture than just you're sitting here today. Okay? But even sitting here right now, your awareness is going to see everybody around you at the same time, understand how this room is situated, where is the exit, how we came in. There is so much that's happening at every given moment that if we don't pay attention to, if we're not really seeing what's going on, then we're not going to be able to make the best decisions when things are happening, when we want to accomplish something, right? So the awareness becomes something that we take for granted. Okay, I see, but I see, but do I see? Okay. So there's a huge difference between I hear and I listen. Okay. So a lot of different layers of our daily life requires more attention, and because we're in that comfort zone, we really are not aware of everything else that's happening. So the more we can understand that this awareness is required, the more we become curious. Curiosity is a word that I really, really, really appreciate, and I believe it's one of those childhood energies that bring us to the growth and the potentials that we have. And if that curiosity is damned or stopped or blocked, then we get stuck in the comfort zone even more. Because as long as you're curious, you always have your nose into something, not being fuzul or just kind of taking, point in other people's business, but about yourself. Curiosity is so innocent, It's very childlike. I just want to know. I just want to learn. Okay. For me personally, that's been the best gift I've ever had because I'm so curious. If I want to go anywhere, before I go there, I know everything about that place. Seriously, she can tell you that. Right? So curiosity gives you choices also. Okay. Because it's giving you that awareness. Right? And the other one that is equally important is differentiation. Differentiation is not the common word that we use a lot, but commonly we understand. Who wants to take a crack at it? What is differentiation?
I think it's distinction, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you look at something and you're able to see, like, this is not a piece of plastic, this is a pen.
Exactly.
That's a distinction.
And is it a pen or is it a pencil? Okay, because they both could be a writing tool, okay? But I gotta differentiate what kind of a writing tool it is. Okay, is it a fountain pen? So in every aspect of our lives, in everything that we deal with, we got to differentiate even the words that we use. So that differentiation of the words that we use is really what I want to get to about making choices in communication. As we're moving towards the last part of this workshop, communication is huge, and we got to understand what words are appropriate to use and what words are not appropriate to use. And what feelings are creating our triggers to say certain words versus saying other words, right? So now my responsible choice becomes what words to use to create more security in this relationship. You see how it works? So everything that we said come to the point of creating security in this relationship, taking it to the next level that we are closer with each other without feeling threatened by each other, and that can only happen by us being aware and being able to make the choices appropriate to this moment and what's going on and with what we see. Fair? You all know that we are co-founders of Wheel of Wellbeing, right? And to make responsible choices, I believe that we got to understand what this wheel means, because for us it has a very clear meaning, and that's what we bring to everyone that meets us and we work with. And that wheel is essentially each one of us. Each one of us represent a well-rounded way of being, which is consisting of 8 different little wheels, right? That they rotate around each other to create that energy that's inside of it. So just like a clock that goes forward, the energy is what's shown, which is again health, happiness, success, and the joy that we have and reconnecting with that joy. And in order to do that, we got to understand these 8 spokes. I'm not going to spend a lot of time today on it, just very briefly. This is our personal responsible choice to take care of before we can even do anything else. The first part of it is our physical vitality. Physical vitality has 4 parts in it. It's our eating habits, sleeping habits, most importantly, our exercises, physical fitness, and our sex lives, okay? So these 4 are the essence of everything that we do, and if we don't pay attention personally to that, then in relationship, it's gonna be a problem, and we're gonna see how. The second part of it is the mental. Mental is all of this. We talked about the conscious and the subconscious mind. The mind has to be working properly. It has to be attended to the certain things that are happening in our life, and through the knowledge, through the learning, we gotta practice keeping that intelligence going forward. And that's a big responsibility. By coming here, you're really working on that second part right now, because you're creating a certain outcome from your mind's perspective to move forward. And even if you pick 5 words from everything that's said today, those 5 words are going to be installed into your mind, and it's going to take you forward to the goal that you have and the direction that you have. And the third one, which we already talked about, is our emotions. The emotions are very convoluted. We talked about how feelings are important, and if these feelings are not separated from each other, if they're not differentiated from each other, differentiation of those feelings are important. If you have looked at my book, at the end of it, I have two appendixes, one about pleasant feeling and one about unpleasant feeling. Each one of them has probably 200-300 words. And if we cannot differentiate those words, how can I tell my partner what am I feeling or where I am right now? Now, those three together, the physical, the mental, and the emotional, together have their own wheel. Okay? Why? Because the only way that we can relate with somebody if we're physically, emotionally, and mentally well. Otherwise, if I'm going to relate to someone, what's going to happen if I have a broken wheel? Right? Can I carry anything with me? Can I carry a child in this relationship? So if I'm imbalanced, if I'm not taking care of myself in a proper way, if my responsible choices towards myself are not value-based, I'm not valuing myself to take care of myself, then how am I going to be taking care of somebody else? Okay? It's going to be a failure in relationship. So without having two whole wheels, we're not going to have a healthy relationship. And I think Bonnie is going to talk a lot more about that too. And a healthy relationship, when we are on top of the world, it's going to happen when both of the wheels are complete and healthy, right? And now, the next part, actually, on Instagram, I had a post today, coincidentally, I was just biking this morning, and I saw this playground, and I took a shot, and I just posted it, and I just talked about playfulness, okay, because this is what it is. The fifth part of this wheel is recreational. That means we have to have fun. Still, we have that inner child inside of us. If here we just sit dry and we're not saying anything that's a little bit more off the cuff and is more relaxing, we're not being playful with each other, this is not going to be effective because it's too dry and it's going to be too rigid. So in everything we need to bring our playfulness in a responsible way, okay? Because the child needs a parent, right? And this inner child needs an adult parent to take him to, ride a bike or post something or say anything. So in relationship, we got to be playful for the link to be working. We can create.
You're having fun with that thing, huh?
Yes, I love it. See, I brought it to you now.
Thank
Power
you.
of wholeness. Make me whole, honey.